Picture this, you finally do it. 30 years of payments, the mortgage is gone, the house is finally paid off, and then the bill shows up anyway. Not a bill from the bank, from the government. Miss it and they take everything. That's the part nobody explained when they sold Americans the dream of home ownership. You don't actually own the home, you basically rent it forever. And the rent can go up every single year, even when your income does not go up. So here's what's making this problem, here's what's making this moment different. While millions of Americans are being crushed by property taxes and exploding insurance premiums, while paid off homes are quietly being seized over tax liens and flipped to investors for pennies on the dollar, something has finally snapped. 5 states have had enough. Yes, guys, I'm not talking about relief, not talking about caps, not talking about shaving a few dollars off the bill. They're talking about zero, no property taxes, gone. So they're making these moves right now, guys, as investors are circling neighborhoods, counties are jacking up assessments, and homeowners are realizing too late that paid off doesn't mean safe. This isn't a policy debate anymore. This is a breaking point. Red states, swing states, retirees, middle-class families, the system is cracking from the inside. So tonight we're breaking down why 5 states are revolting, how homeowners are getting trapped, who is profiting from the chaos, and why the question isn't if property taxes change, but who gets wiped out before they do. Now, quick question before we continue, and I want you to answer honestly. Type a 1 in the comments down below if you believe that once a home is paid off, property taxes should stop. Type 2 if you think property taxes should exist but never rise faster than your income. Type a 3 if you believe that property taxes should be eliminated entirely. Now, otherwise, I really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and for subscribing to the channel. Now, for decades, Americans, we were told a very simple story. You work hard, you buy a home, you pay off the mortgage, and then one day you own something, right? That story is a bold-faced lie because ownership was never the finish line. It was the illusion. The fine print was always there, buried under closing documents and patriotic language about the American dream. Even when the bank is gone, the payments don't stop. The government stays forever. Property taxes don't expire. They don't care if you're retired. They don't care if you stop working. They don't care if you're on a fixed income like Social Security or SSI or SSDI or anything like that. They don't care if you've already paid for the house once in full with money that was already taxed. Here's the part that people are only now waking up to. A paid off home is often more vulnerable than a home with a mortgage. Now, this might seem weird, but I'm going to break it down for you guys so that you understand what I mean by this. There's no bank standing in the way. There's no buffer when there's no mortgage. There's no negotiation, just a bill and a deadline. And if you miss it, well, the system doesn't ask questions. It doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about your sacrifices. It only cares about revenue. And so ask yourself this: if you can lose something that you own because you fail to pay ongoing rent to the government, did you ever really own it at all? That realization is spreading and it's making people furious. Now, here's what most Americans still don't understand, because today, more homes are lost to property tax foreclosure than to mortgage default. Now, let that sink in just for a second, okay? People are losing their homes not because people stopped paying the banks, but because they couldn't keep up with the property taxes that never stop rising. Counties don't need your consent. They don't need a long court battle. If property taxes go unpaid long enough, the government can just stop by your house and seize the home outright from under you, even if you owe nothing on it. That's not theory. This is law. A homeowner can miss a few $1,000s in taxes and lose a house that is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in many cases, the original homeowner never even sees the equity. It vanishes into fees, penalties, and resale. This flips the entire concept of ownership on its head. The mortgage holder takes a back seat to the tax collector. Private property bows down to public priority. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it, because this isn't accidental. It's systemic. Property tax foreclosure has become normalized, quietly accepted as just how it works, even as it strips wealth from retirees, working families, and people who did everything right. That's not enforcement. This is extraction, and it sets the stage for who really wins next. Now, here's the part that most people never even hear about until it's too late. When you fall behind on your property taxes, the county doesn't always take your house directly. Instead, they can sell the tax lien. That's the right to collect that debt to private investors, not to the banks, not to neighbors, professional buyers who specialize in distressed assets. Now, this is not buying homes. They're buying permission to charge interest, permission to add penalties, permission to foreclose. And so the numbers are brutal. A homeowner can literally owe a few $1,000s, sometimes even less than that, and that lien quietly grows, interest accrues, fees stack up, deadlines pass, and eventually the investor doesn't just collect the debt, the investor collects the house too. Now, this hits retirees the hardest. Fixed incomes, seniors who pay off their homes decades ago, and never imagined that the real threat wasn't a bank, it was the tax bill. One medical bill, one missed notice, one bad year. And here's the kicker. When the home is taken, the investor often gets it for pennies on the dollar. The equity, the decades of it evaporates. No bailout, no warning siren, no headlines, just another legal transfer of wealth from families to financial players who understand the rules better than the people trapped inside of them. And this is where the stress stops being theoretical, because once your home becomes vulnerable, everything else in life starts shrinking. And I heard from one woman who skipped her grandson's baseball game, not because she didn't care, but because she was stuck at home trying to fix a billing mistake. Her Medicare plan had listed the wrong provider, phone calls, paperwork, hours lost. She told me, I missed a moment I'll never get back. This is what broken systems do. They don't just cost money, they steal time from you. They steal peace. They steal moments that you can't replace. This is why I partner with Chapter. Chapter makes sure that your Medicare coverage doesn't quietly turn into another stress point in your life. They walk through your plan with you, they catch mistakes before they snowball, and they help you to avoid problems that trap most people at the worst possible time. So most people, they're already dialing the phone number at the bottom of your screen there, 909-563-8279, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron, link down below. And of course, it is totally free for the Ron Yates community. Make that call right now before it's too late. Now, layer this on top of everything else. Property taxes are not hitting homeowners alone anymore. In fact, they have teamed up with something just as relentless, insurance premiums. So in states like Florida and Texas, homeowners are opening bills that feel absolutely unreal. Comment down below where you're watching the show from today. Insurance is doubling, then tripling. Property taxes climbing right alongside it. Together, they're rivaling. And sometimes they're exceeding what the original mortgage payment used to be. Now think about that for a second, right? You paid off the house and your monthly housing cost didn't go down, it went up. How does that make any sense, right? It seems totally unfair. And it seems that way because it is. This is why people are calling home ownership a subscription model. You don't own an asset, you're enrolled in a program. You miss a payment and the asset gets revoked. And unlike a mortgage, these costs are unpredictable. Counties reassess, insurers reprice. Homeowners are stuck reacting year after year to bills that they have no control over. They don't control it. This pressure doesn't ease, it compounds, it suffocates. And once the housing stops being stable, it stops being security. It becomes stress. Permanent, unavoidable stress, even for people who thought that they had already won. And while here's where the anger really sets in, okay? Even when incomes stall, even when the economy tightens, even when families are cutting back, assessments, they keep on rising. Counties, they don't wait for permission. They don't ask if your paycheck went up. They don't care if you're retired or downsized or barely holding on. If nearby homes sell for more, your assessment goes up. If inflation pushes paper values higher, your tax bill follows. This is why tax relief feels like a scam to so many homeowners. You get a cut with one hand and an assessment hike with the other. The bill still grows, the pressure never leaves. And so let's be honest about incentives, okay? Local governments, they rely on property taxes to balance budgets quietly. Raising the rates is invisible. Raising assessments is stealthy. It spreads blame across the entire market while revenues flow in automatically. So homeowners feel gaslit. Politicians talk about relief. Meanwhile, the county notices arrive saying that your home is suddenly worth far more, whether you can afford it or not. This disconnect destroys trust because when the system keeps demanding more during economic stress, people stop seeing it as fair. They see it as predatory. And once that shift happens, reform isn't enough anymore. That is when people start talking about elimination. And this didn't start as an ideological crusade. It started as survival. Red states, they weren't supposed to have this problem. Lower taxes, pro-ownership, pro-freedom, that was the promise. But retirees, they started getting squeezed. Middle-class families started doing the math, and people realized something uncomfortable. The tax burden was moved. It didn't disappear. Property taxes became the pressure valve. And so as people fled these high-tax blue states, they landed in red states, and they discovered a similar pain that was wearing different clothing. No income tax, sure, but massive property taxes, rising insurance, endless assessments. Voters noticed, and they got loud. This is why some conservative leaders suddenly changed their tone, not because of theory, because their base was cracking. Retirees leaving, families downsizing, lifelong homeowners feeling punished for staying put. This isn't partisan anymore. This is demographic. When your most reliable voters start feeling trapped in paid off homes, something has to give. So the conversation shifted. Quietly at first, then publicly. From how do we cut taxes to why do these taxes exist at all? Once that question is asked, you cannot put it back in the box. This is where frustration turns into action. Now, across the country, 5 states have reached the same conclusion, not through coordination, not through ideology, but through pressure. Different paths, same destination. Pennsylvania, where tens of thousands of families lose homes every single year over property taxes tied to school funding. Lawmakers there are not talking about trimming rates anymore. They're actually talking about replacing the entire system. Texas, which has already spent over $50 billion on property tax relief and still can't slow the bleeding. Relief didn't fix it. Rising values erased the gains, and now elimination is openly on the table. Florida, the Sunshine State, where property taxes collide with runaway insurance costs and push homeowners toward a breaking point. Ohio, where citizens, not politicians, launched a constitutional push after massive assessment spikes shocked entire neighborhoods. And of course, North Dakota, sitting on an oil-funded legacy reserve big enough to realistically chart a path to zero. You've got 5 states, 5 different approaches, one shared realization. The system doesn't bend anymore, it breaks. And this is not a trend, folks. This is a revolt against the tax structure that punishes longevity, stability, and ownership itself. And out of all of them, one state has become the front of the line. Now, Florida isn't just part of the story, it is the symbol. So right now, Florida lawmakers, they're moving proposals that would dramatically reduce or even eliminate property taxes on primary residences. Not quietly, not in theory, through constitutional amendments that go straight to the voters. And that matters because in Florida, changing property taxes isn't a legislative tweak. It requires a supermajority vote, 60%. Now, this is a high bar, and yet the momentum is there. Why? Because Florida homeowners are being hit from both sides. Taxes on one end, high insurance premiums on the other. Paid off homes becoming liabilities. Fixed income retirees are watching costs explode while their income stays flat. How do you survive that environment, right? Even critics admit something important. This push didn't come out of nowhere. It came from years of pressure finally reaching escape velocity. Yes, there are risks, admittedly, funding gaps, service questions. Nobody's pretending otherwise. But here's the reality. Homeowners are already voting with their feet, downsizing, leaving, selling earlier than planned. Florida has become the pivot ground. If voters there say yes, the entire national conversation about property taxes suddenly shifts overnight. And then every other state is watching closely. Here's the mistake that politicians made, okay? They thought that homeowners wanted relief. A credit here, an exemption there, a one-time cut that they could campaign on. But relief doesn't change the relationship. It just delays the pain. Homeowners have lived through this cycle for decades. Taxes go up, politicians promise relief, assessments rise, insurance spikes, and within like a year or two, the bill is higher than it was before. This is why people stop believing. Relief assumes that the system is basically fair and just needs some adjustment. But homeowners don't see fairness anymore. They see a structure that's designed to extract endlessly from the same asset until something breaks. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you bought a pair of shoes or a new jacket or, a microwave or a TV? Do you have to keep paying tax on that item? Right, exactly. You don't. So why should you have to keep paying tax on your house? Why is that any different? A paid off home shouldn't feel like a ticking time bomb. And this is the emotional shift that's driving this moment, okay? People aren't asking, how do we lower the bill? They're asking, why does this bill even exist? And why does it exist forever? Elimination isn't popular because it's radical. It's popular because it's final. It's the only answer that actually ends the anxiety. And once someone realizes that relief never stops the climb, they stop negotiating and they demand an exit. And that demand is now loud enough to scare people in power. This movement didn't happen in a vacuum. Since President Donald J. Trump returned back to the office, the national tone around property rights, taxation, and state autonomy, it has shifted, not through executive orders, but through permission. States are being told implicitly, you do not have to accept the old rules anymore. President Trump hasn't mandated property tax changes. That's important. This isn't federal overreach. It's cultural signal. This is a reset that says ownership does matter. And states are free to rethink systems that no longer serve the people. That matters politically because for years, leaders avoided this conversation altogether. Oh, it's too risky. It's too complicated, too scared. But now voters are already there. The question isn't whether politicians should lead. It's whether they can keep up. And I think it's rather ironic that President Trump lives primarily in the state of Florida. Now, in this environment, property taxes stopped being a technical issue. They became symbolic, a test of whether ownership means control or conditional permission. This is why governments are talking differently, legislatures are acting differently, and voters are listening differently. This isn't a decree from Washington. It's a green light. This is the question everyone is yelling at their screen right now. If property taxes go to zero, what replaces them? And here's where this conversation finally gets honest. Nobody serious is pretending money magically appears. Schools still need funding. Roads still need maintenance. Fire and police still matter. The difference is how those things get paid for and who carries the burden. This is why North Dakota matters so much. North Dakota isn't guessing. It isn't hoping. It has a massive oil-funded legacy fund throwing off hundreds of millions of dollars in earnings every year without touching the principal. That's not theory. That's just math. And this is why their plan isn't chaos. It's structured. Other states, they don't really have that same advantage. Some would need sales tax. Some would need income adjustments. Some spending cuts. None of it is painless. But here's a key point that people keep missing. Homeowners are already paying the price, just quietly, just alone, just year after year after year until they break. Uncertainty doesn't weaken this movement, it fuels it. Because when the status quo becomes unbearable, people stop asking for perfect plans. They just demand a different future. Zero isn't just a number, it's an escape hatch. And this is where it all collapses into one unavoidable question. Do you actually own your home ever, or are you just renting it from the government? Because if you can lose it after it's already paid off, if taxes never end, if assessments rise without your consent, if insurance makes staying impossible, if investors can take it over a missed bill, then ownership isn't ownership. It's more like permission. This is why this debate isn't fading. It's accelerating. 5 states today, more tomorrow, because once people see the truth, they don't go back to sleep. This isn't about left versus right. It's not about rich versus poor. It's about whether stability is allowed in this country anymore. And here's the thing that nobody in power can stop. The question has already escaped containment. Kitchen tables, retirement planning, family conversations, booth voters, voter booths. This fight isn't ending with one bill or one election. It ends when Americans decide what ownership really means. Until then, the pressure stays on. Like, subscribe, share this video with someone who thinks that their paid off home means that they're safe. Because this story, it's just getting started.